يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تبطلوا صدقاتكم بالمن والأذى لقد من الله على المؤمنين إذ بعث فيهم رسولا من أنفسهم الحمد لله كما علمنا أن نحمد والصلاة والسلام على خير الخلق سيدنا محمد أما بعد. Welcome to the first episode of the Golden Nuggets from the Holy Quran, targeting all audiences because the Holy Quran has something to offer to any one of us, to all humanity, if we just ponder upon it. Particular emphasis will be put in this series to the linguistics of the choice of words in Quran, where there are several synonymous words, why this one was used in this context while the other one was used in a different context. And along with that, we will dig into the roots of Arabic words to make sure that we understand the basics of it, which will solve many issues about what does the word mean in this context or that context. Along with that, we will pick up some action items that we could do in our lives to make us better human beings. And if we do this for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we will be better believers. The word for today is in Arabic called al-mann, and the apparent meaning for it is inflicting harm, basically by doing some charity work to some needy person, for example, yet excessively talking about it till he or she regrets that they asked for help. That's the basic or apparent meaning of mann. An example of that, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in Quran al-Kareem in chapter 2 verse 264, page 44. يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تبطلوا صدقاتكم بالمن والأذى. All you believe, do not ruin, do not nullify your charity work by exercising man, this harm that we're explaining right now. When we look at it, then in another example, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in chapter 3 verse 164, page 71, says لقد من الله على المؤمنين إذ بعث فيهم رسولا من أنفسهم. Indeed, Allah, God, has exercised man on the believers when He sent upon them a messenger from among them. When we look in the first verse, we're talking about it's a harmful thing, yet we're saying Allah has exercised it, and obviously we know that that means the two meanings are different, because it can, I mean, the best thing God has done for humanity is sending messengers to guide them. So how could that be the harmful men that we're talking about? Furthermore, God named Himself in one of His 100 attributes as al-mann. He called Himself al-mann, the one who continually exercises men. So obviously there is either a disconnect here or lack of understanding of that word, and that's the essence of this series. Some scholars try to get around it and saying, there's an exception. If the exercise of man comes from God, then it's pleasant, it's good. But if it comes from humans, then that's harmful, it's disgrace. That's not so convincing to me. Typically in Arabic there is not like, you make an exception to this, but the rest of the cases the word means this. Let's dig into the roots of the word. In Arabic, al-mannu huwa al-qata'. Man is cutting, it is bringing something to an end, to a resolution. That's the root of it. So let's project that into the two verses, the two instances that we have mentioned earlier, and see how they apply. Let's take the positive case first, or what we think is the positive case. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, our Lord and Creator, gives us sustenance, being the mannan, the continually exercising man, He gives us our sustenance fulfilling our basic needs of life, what is he ending? He's ending our poverty. Our poverty, our humiliation for asking others for help. When he's providing all that for us, he's ending it. And along with it, when humiliation is ended, then the ill feelings and jealousy are also ended. Basically, when God exercises man, it's still ending, it's still cutting, but cutting the negative attributes in the society, and along with it, what's in the human soul. So it's still man in the positive term. However, let's look at the negative case. And also when he sends the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, as in the context mentioned in the verse, what does he end? Well, basically, there is a well-known terminology in Islamic literature called al-jahiliyyah, the pre-Islamic ignorance. So when the Prophet was sent, that has ended. So there is an ending to that. And along with it, so many ill behaviors in the society have ceased to exist, at least at the time of the Prophet ﷺ. So those are the negative attributes that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has removed by sending the messenger. And by sending other messengers, many negative attributes were removed from their society. However, when we look at humans, when you give something, when you do a charity work to some needy person, you're supposed to be ending their suffering. That's what you're supposed to be doing. However, if you embarrass them about it day and night, then you have not ended any suffering. They were suffering from poverty, now they're suffering from embarrassment. And some people say, I would like to be poor rather than embarrassed. So you have not ended anything. Then, like, how does the word apply? I mean, God mentioned it in the Quran. It ought to apply. If we don't see it, then it's our lack of understanding. Well, what we end by this exercise of embarrassing people, we're ending all the positive attributes of charity work. The person you do charity to, then you embarrass them, they will stop to thank you. They will no longer thank you for this work. So that will end. They will not pray for you. You're expecting them to pray and say, oh, may God prosper his wealth. I mean, he gave me money. They're not going to do that if you do mann to them, this harmful action. They will even stop to ask anyone else for help. So that will end as well. So in essence, the essence of affinity and harmony in the whole society will come to an end, because the aspect of, like, rich people helping the needy will stop. The needy person will say, no, thank you very much. I know you're nice today. I'll see tomorrow what you're going to do in front of people. So it's not going to become a cohesive society anymore. So the harm that's done is not just to one person, it's to the entire society. So we looked at both aspects of the word. Briefly, the word stays as it is. Man means ending. And there's no exception. If we make exceptions, we have lack of understanding, and we're trying to make a shortcut to it. Man is ending of something. It's the same for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, God, and for servants. The difference is that God will always remove the negative attributes and put goodness in its place, while humans, as you know, in most cases, will remove what's good and, you know, somehow manage to put some evil to it. And the question or the action item is, we could exercise either way. So what do you want? What do I want? What does everybody want to end? Do you want to end poverty, humiliation to others, ill feelings, jealousy? Or do we want to end, you know, the goodness of the society? Do we want to end, you know, the charity work? That's the question. What do you want to end? And that was it for our first session. And thank you very much for attending. And I would like to take this opportunity to thank ISOB, the Islamic Center of Bothell, for giving this opportunity, you know, to explore together some of the meanings in the Quran, and, you know, delve into it and benefit from it, and hopefully apply it in our daily life. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. God bless.